how can we stay motivated if we're not going to get a bonus? What can we do? What can we do? Some of them were nice and some of them were not so nice. So I'm going to address this head on.
Another day, another shameless display of corporate greed in the United States of America.
The most important thing we can do right now is focus on the things that we can control. None of us could have predicted COVID. None of us could have predicted supply chain. None of us could have predicted bank failures. But what we can do is stay in front of our customers, provide the best customer service we can, get our orders out our door, treat each other well, be kind, be respectful, focus on the future because it will be bright. It's not good to be in a situation we're in today, but we're not going to be here forever. It is going to get better. So lead by example, treat people well, talk to them, be kind, and get after it. Don't ask about what are we going to do if we don't get a bonus. Get the damn $26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? I would appreciate that. I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done. Thank you. Have a great day.
So that video was a CEO, who did get a bonus by the way, telling employees to stop complaining about not getting a bonus, in what I think is very emblematic of what's been going on in the United States since the pandemic started, which is giant companies making up essentially any excuse to raise prices, to lower wages, and say that it's because of the supply chain, it's because of inflation, it's because of, but they are the ones that are causing the issues with inflation. Fundamentally, inflation is mostly driven by corporate profits increasing. They are just using an excuse that allows them to get away with it without too much public backlash. Like, for example, when there was a big egg shortage, it turns out that like half of that price increase was actually just an increase in profits for egg producing companies. And so when you actually look at the data, what you will see is that it's not some sort of organic rise in inflation that's happening. It is companies actively putting stress on the working class. Now, fundamentally, why is this? Well, of course, it's because unemployment is low. Now, what does that have anything to do with anything? You see, when unemployment is low, they say that that causes inflation, but there's no actual organic process by which that causes inflation. The reason it will lead to inflation is because companies will be looking for different ways to put workers in general under stress. And the reason why they want workers to be under stress is because they want people to be less likely to quit their job to find a higher paying job. These companies do not want to pay workers more because, of course, they want to rake in these huge profits. And there are two ways to do that. One is to do layoffs to make sure that unemployment goes back up. But if unemployment isn't going back up, if you increase prices on things, well then people have a harder time surviving. They're more afraid of potentially losing their job and thus are less likely then to ask for higher wages or for a raise. And that is what a lot of companies are doing across the country. And of course, you have companies that are cutting benefits at the same time. They tell you that, oh, times are really tough, because what they don't want you to do is ask for a raise when unemployment is low. And that is what leads to moments like this, where you have a CEO who herself is getting a huge bonus, telling workers that they shouldn't expect any bonus and that they should stop complaining about not getting bonuses. And the simple fact that this is something that's consistent throughout the history of the United States, to the point where working class people today fundamentally are earning less despite being far more productive than ever. I mean, quite literally, if you look at the numbers, working class people in the United States are actually working more and harder than ever, and are doing so in such a way that is more productive than ever, but also our real actual wages are far lower when you compare them to the cost of living, meaning that the average worker today is working harder for longer hours and earning less than somebody 30 years ago. So as a random aside, to any baby boomer that wants to tell you that nobody wants to work anymore, or people just don't understand the value of hard work anymore, you can just tell them outright that that is a lie. It is fundamentally not the case. But the reason why you have so many people saying that it is because the United States, under our capitalist system, it is all about pushing this propaganda to say that if you are poor, if you are struggling, it is your individual fault, that it is the workers who are at fault for the economy struggling in the way it is, when in actuality, the economy is struggling on purpose. That is a fundamental feature of the system. If you're struggling to afford rent, that means your landlord is making a ton of money. If you're not getting paid enough to actually cover your cost of living, that means the companies that you're buying things from and the companies that you work for are making a huge profit, because it means that you're being underpaid at work and you're being overcharged at the grocery store. And this video is just another shameless example of millionaires and billionaires just rubbing it in the face of working class people that our economy does not work for us, that our economy is fundamentally structured in a way to benefit the richest of the rich, while completely leaving working class people out of the equation, while simultaneously blaming working class people for the problems that the millionaires and the billionaires created for us.